All right, everybody, here we are, and once again, Q&A with Caps, and we always have special guests, right? But this is kind of fun. First of all, we're back in Chicago area, back at Joliet, Route 66 Raceway, and our guest today, Tony Schumacher. Tony, thanks for doing this.
That's great to be here, man.
Been trying to put it together, tried to do wings last year, and it just never worked out. But ironically, it's worked out where you grew up here in Chicago.
Right.
We're back here racing.
You're
no longer live here, but now you're in Texas, and now we're doing barbecue. So I couldn't think of a better person to have some barbecue with, where you've gotten kind of both sides of it. And we're going to bring you some Chicago barbecue today.
It's exciting. I'll tell you what, I grew up here and spent 45 years of my life here, and there's really not that many barbecue places. Ironically, I live in Austin, Texas, and there's barbecue on every corner. Here you tend to see hot dog joints on every corner, or beefs, pizza. And so this is going to be great. Looking forward to it. It looks amazing.
Yeah, and we're maybe a half hour from the track. It's called Baby Back BBQ. It is in a small little mall, and these are usually the best places. And talking to Ken, the owner, this has been around 1998, which ironically is right around the time you and I got our start professionally. I know you and I, when I was racing Top Fuel, I came out in 95, you were with the layback car,
right?
Big Brothers.
Yeah.
And I went to work for Don Perdome in 98. It was my second year in funny car, but you and I were hanging out a lot back then, and we kind of got to know each other and spent some time away from the racetrack. And so when he said 1998, I thought, oh, that's perfect, because you and I together kind of got our friendship started.
I think you negotiated your contract at my dad's house in Florida.
I did.
Right.
Yeah, on the golf course.
Sitting out there. Those phone calls were big back then. I was just brand new, and you were fairly new, and it was like, those are big deals. It was a start. You look back now at how much we've been through and accomplished, and it was a long time ago. It seems like 25 years, not long.
Dude, it happened so fast. I mean, all the championships you've won. I went a long time without winning one, and then finally wrapped up 3 of them, which was crazy.
And in Indy.
Yeah, and Indy, all in 1 year. But I mean, so we're back at Joliet. Obviously, for the racers, you can see the excitement in everybody. I mean, drivers, owners, everybody, but the fans too. And we're leading into the race. We don't know what the turnout's going to be. We're hoping it's good. We'd love to come back here, but you remember the first time there. I remember the first time there. What's your favorite memory being a kid that grew up here and being in a track built like it's built, like state of the art, and finally having a race in your backyard? What's your favorite moment?
My single favorite moment? I got asked that yesterday on the show, and it's I think my favorite moment at this racetrack was the first time Alan Johnson had come on board. We had raced against him, both Blaine and Selzy, for so long, and we had hired him on, and he didn't even visit the shop. He called and said, okay, if you have this part, put this in with it. If you have this part, make it out. Smoked the tires on the first run, qualified number 1, and won the race. And
First weekend
together, man. And it was just like, I had a lot of chats with my dad because, we had been through a lot. I had a crash before that. And I said, hey, Alan's a little rough on parts, I mean, he sets every record, and we're going to win some stuff, but we're going to put a car upside down. And he goes, no. I said, hey, you ain't going to put a car upside. He goes, I talked to him, and there's a reason for every one of them. I was upside down in 4 races. I was like, it just is what it is, and you look back at that and you go, when you're pushing these cars, and you're going to push, and you have to, to win these races. And I think it was probably easier to win championships back then. There was maybe 3 or 4 cars that could win, but nowadays, you show up at any one of these races, it's the best there's ever been. We get arguments. You watch NHRA post, is it the best you've ever seen in racing? And then fans will pop up and go, oh no, back in 1950, 200 cars would show up. Like, it was a different world.
Yeah.
Guys like Garlitz would be a second and a half ahead of everybody. And then there was everyone else trying to just, nowadays we win races. I lost last week by 9 thousandths of a second. I lost the weekend before by 9 thousandths of a second.
Yeah.
And, these cars are amazing. The drivers are doing a great job. The whole sport is just in a better place. And I think it's unfortunate we've seen a couple racetracks go away, but to see Joliet come back, I'm still wondering why it ever went away.
Yeah,
I don't know if we ever got a real answer.
Me too.
What was the answer that a track like this, a stadium like this? I understand Chicago's a stick and ball kind of town, and they got 2 baseball teams and a football team and a great hockey team.
Remember, we had 2 races here.
We had 2 races
at one
for
time.
sure. I'd love, and by losing a racetrack in Denver right now, hopefully they'll build something else. But I'll have to go back to a couple places with 2. We need the marketing. You fill the stands, get the stands, and we can negotiate to have 2 races there, because this is a great town. You know, an incredible amount of people that live in Chicago and the suburbs. So to be able to have 2 races here would be fantastic. Well, let's start with one.
Yeah.
Let's go out and do what we do.
Yeah.
Prove that this race is top notch, because when it was built, there was no Bruton Smith's racetracks at the time.
No.
This was it, man. It's an incredible track, and still, you know, pulling up and looking at this grandstands, they're amazing. I love it the way you pull through, and the way you run this track is great.
Yeah, I know. We feel like we took it for granted for a long time.
For sure.
Then it went away, and you're like, oh my gosh.
It.
So, are you big time barbecue guy?
I love barbecue.
Do you barbecue yourself?
I
a
do.
lot at home?
I do.
I always see some of your posts. You're always out eating in Austin.
Yeah,
One
that's
of the best barbecue
that's
places.
a summer thing. Like I eat. The summer is all about food. She loves food. Good food. You know, everywhere we go, it's got to be something special. She's not a McDonald's person. She's about good food. She researches it. She finds it. She eats extremely healthy, but barbecue is one of her things.
Well, in front of us, I don't know if you guys can see at home. We've Ken, the owner, has brought over some. I got here a little early, and I actually ate, and I was just shaking my head at how good it was. So I get asked to track all the time. So we'll be qualifying, and I'll have people on different teams go, hey, where'd you do your thing at? And so it's always fun to tell them, and then find out that they went that night and checked it out.
Good.
So this, trust me, we'll put the address and everything up, but Baby Back Barbecue, Baby Back Blues. Baby Back Blues. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Baby Back Blues Barbecue. And what city were we in?
We are at Plainfield.
Plainfield, Illinois. It's about half an hour from the track. Are you a beef guy, chicken guy,
I'm a beef guy.
ribs?
I like ribs.
Brisket?
I love brisket. I love the sausage. I'll try the chicken. I love everything on this plate. Looks delicious.
Yeah.
Today.
I can tell you the brisket
I'll
is
wait
probably
till that.
one of the best briskets I've had, period. All right, so you're a Chicago guy, and I got some questions that
I figured.
our friends shot our way. And first, I got the question everybody gets. Don't look at my list.
I'm not
either.
gonna look. I'm not gonna look. Just grab them now.
Cubs or White Sox? We don't know right off the bat, and without hesitation.
Absolutely.
Ever been a White Sox guy?
No.
You can't waffle when you live here.
You know, it's unfortunate. You should be able to like them both. I mean, and I guess, you know, if the White Sox are playing another team other than the Cubs, I hope they win.
I mean, people get in fist fights over that, right?
Yeah,
Like, it's
my
crazy.
family does, because half of them are from right here, Orland Park, you know, Oak Lawn, and then I was from Park Ridge, and so we were right there, really not that far from Wrigleyville, and so you just always went, you know, and you saw Cubs, man, and I'm not sure. I'm trying to think back if I ever even saw a White Sox. It's terrible to say. Lived here my whole life, but I saw a lot of Blackhawks and Bulls games. Cubs were my thing, you know, and I actually moved to Austin, Texas, and across the street from me in my neighborhood, Jake Arrieta lived.
Oh yeah.
You know, and I just went to introduce myself, and his wife came out and she goes, "Are you with the Cy Young?" I'm like, "Cy Young?" He goes, "Oh, he's up for Cy Young tonight." And I'm like, "You're kidding me." The day I went to meet him, I'm like, "Man, I am not with Cy Young. I was just walking up to meet him," and he ended up winning that.
Did he?
It
Oh, I was
really,
gonna say,
cool,
hopefully
man.
they
Really
jinx
cool. No, that would have been terrible.
All right.
That's funny.
Deep dish or thin crust?
Ooh, thin crust. But
Okay.
they are both amazing, man.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
I tell people all the time, if you've never been to Chicago, you can't not have the deep dish
I'll
and
try it.
try it. Because
The
it
cheese is
literally
amazing.
melts in your mouth, that crust. I don't know what they do about it, but there's a reason it's so popular.
Amazing.
All right, so what's your worst moment at Route 66? You've had some pretty spectacular crashes, but I don't remember ever one there. Right? You never had a
No, but
crash there?
Selzy crashed against me here. And
I remember that.
that was a crazy run, because we were on a fantastic run, and the blower belt comes off, and my head goes forward, and it's like, you know, it shocks you, because you're going from excessive speed to nothing, and my head goes down, and as I look up, the front of his nose was coming around. I thought,
Oh, yeah.
what the? And it went around me. He crashed.
I just saw that video.
It was a rough one,
yesterday.
man.
Yeah.
He had
But
he
you
had
won,
a couple of
right?
runs.
Yeah. You won that round, didn't you?
I don't know.
I think
I
you
was
did.
busy
I think,
making sure he was
went
alive,
over the,
man.
Yeah, I think you went over the center line. I think
Yeah, he went over my head.
could be
He had
wrong.
to get over the center line to get over my head, I guess.
All
Assuming
right.
I was in my lane.
So obviously we're doing this before every race. What is must-see Chicago place? If you had to tell somebody one spot, if they flew into Chicago and you had to tell them you've got one day, you've got to see one spot, what would it be?
Oh my God! I guess you got to go down. You got to get to Lakeshore Drive.
Yeah.
You just got to run down it. You know, I didn't spend my time down there. It's a beautiful drive. You're looking at the city from the other side. It's pretty unique. You know?
Yeah.
Really, really cool. Hard to find your way though. If you're going to do it, I'd take an Uber because I get lost there and I lived here. You know.
Yep.
Great ride though.
All right. This is a good question.
Oh.
Everyone knows you're the Sarge. All right, that's been a nickname you've had forever. If you had to choose one other nickname, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, Champ is always good, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You kind of like that one, don't you?
Yeah.
I have people
It is
call
good to hear that, isn't it?
Yeah, I have people that will say, hey man, he never served in the Army. They shouldn't call him Sarge. I said, then just call me 8-time champ.
Yeah.
If that pisses you off that much, I didn't call myself the Sarge. It was the car.
Yeah.
The Army, when they formed that whole partnership, the car was the Sarge, and there was a reason for it. It was the backbone of the Army. The enlisted soldier. It was what we were trying to do, is trying to recruit, and so they called it the Sarge, and I didn't nickname me that. It was just people started calling me that, and that's pretty cool. But I don't mind Champ.
Dude, it actually worked. I couldn't think of anybody else who would have got that sponsor that could have pulled that off like you did.
Well, I shaved my head to walk into that meeting. A lot of people don't know that whole story, but
it fit so well.
Yeah, it ironic. Me growing up, I went to military school. I was never in the Army, and coming out of it, when I heard the Army was looking for a deal, I was not going to lose that deal. I shaved my head. I walked into that meeting, and they were there to give it to someone else. They were at the meeting telling my dad he was not going to get that deal. I walked in. The door was closed, and I opened the door, and I said, excuse me, guys, how are you going to decide on a driver without even inviting the driver? Wow. I walked in with a flat time, and they looked up and went, that's our guy, and
wow, didn't know that.
It was really a pretty cool story, because the amount of effort that went into, I love Skag. This is a great company, and they are the one place I finally found someone that is filling the Army's shoes so well, because they're behind it. They jumped in with both feet. But the Army, that program was just so big. It was like you had to become that person. Like you just, I've been to Afghanistan.
And very few people would have done that or have
you had
done
to commit. You had to commit. Like, got to fly over, with the general. Actually, I was supposed to fly over to Afghanistan and meet a bunch of people. And my plane filled up with smoke. So we landed, and I got to fly with General Keane on his plane, the government plane. But what an incredible moment to be able to sit with General Tommy Franks and hear the stories in the war rooms, and that was pretty wild.
Yeah, I remember seeing them at the starting line, standing up there when you'd run, and especially the run in Pomona. That was.
I'll tell you something about the run, because I learned about it on a TV show the other day. Apparently, this racetrack, and this is how good this track is. Coletta went out and ran 4:42.0 at this track. I watched that run, and I thought that was the greatest run I've ever witnessed. It was an incredible run. But to back it up, he had to run within like a 4:42.5 or something like that. And he made a 4:42.6 and a 4:42.8 over the weekend, but he didn't do it. So had he gone and done that, the run would never have happened.
Oh.
By 1,000th of a second. If that whole story I heard yesterday was true, I got to look back at that. That was that moment.
That's true. Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have been able. I would have come close to the record.
Yeah.
But listen, all comes down to those few thousandths of a second.
Yeah.
But that run was, destined to happen from a long, long time ago. That was put
never
out there
happened like that again. There's no way.
It was a beautiful moment. We had to be so bad early to have to come back and be so good at the end. It never starts from the run. It starts from having an early disappointing season. Halfway through the year, I carried a Purple Heart at a race, I think Columbus, and then went on and won the race, and ended up going on 45 points a race. We were catching Coletta, and at the end we were 45. The whole thing was perfect, because at the end it was 45 points we needed at the last race, and I had gained 45 points on them.
Yeah.
And, they came to my house back then. It was ESPN, and they came and said, "What do you think?" And I said, "I think I'm going to qualify number one, win the race, set the world record. So I don't care if I do all that and Coletta wins 3 rounds. He's the champ. I'm going to go shake his hand, and that's it." He qualified number one. We won the race and set the record.
That video of him at the other end.
Yeah,
I've been in that moment, but not like that moment.
I have too.
Actually, I've been in that moment. I actually lost it on the last day like that. But that moment, just the way he turns his head and walks away. Oh, my gosh.
It was heartbreaking.
Gosh.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you got? You had a rib so far?
Yep.
I'm going to dig in the chicken and the brisket here.
All right.
Everything good with you? New
Sausage is
team?
fantastic. Yep.
Maynard family?
Yep.
Back out full time? Fans are loving it?
I'll tell you, man, those 3
Top
years were
Fuel
rough.
looks tough right
Dude,
now. I mean, Funny Car's been tough, but Top Fuel looks insane.
Yeah. It's all tough, man. Pro stock, you're watching all of it going down.
Yeah.
Like I said, the people that win are the fans right now. We showed that in Gainesville. We showed that in Phoenix. You know, sellout races like that are incredible. And it's been a long time since we looked up in the stands and they were full, and it's nice. So, but I think good shows and excellent racing. We've given them great racing. The winners of each one of the races so far has really earned it. It's difficult.
Yep.
It's gratifying when you win these things.
I mean, look at Torrance and what they've done in the last half a decade and where they're at right now.
Yeah.
And he's probably realizing how good he's had it. He hasn't won a race here in a while. So, yeah, it's tough. It's horrible. I sit back and watch you guys. I want to go back to Top Fuel someday, and I'm like, wow. And Funny Car, I mean, you get up in the morning, you don't know what's going to happen. It's so
there was a time where we were showing up. I mean, we won 15 races in 2008.
Yeah.
15 races,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I was going to ask you about that. Think about that.
Rounds. Only 3 races, I think, we showed up, and we're in the final round. And they were not easy. We were winning by just little bits, but you know, we had one of those cars. It was just dominant. We had one of those teams that was incredible. So we'll get back there. I don't know if we'll ever get back to winning. Anyone will ever win 15 races. It was a special kind of year, and with the competition now, it's so far out there to think you could, you know, you win 4 or 5 races in a year, you're having a heck of a year, and you're going to be the champ, right? If you do it at the right time.
Yep.
And so.
Yeah, we proved that last year.
That's right. Man, I did it with 1 race. You know, 99, I won 1 race, and it was at the end of the year. You know, and that was a unique year too, because I had never won a race, but we were in the points. We left Indy. When we got to Indy, there were 10 cars. Bernstein.
That was another crazy ending.
Yeah, well, that was a great middle too, because at Indy, which is not really the middle, near the end, 7 races ago, there were 10 people that could leave Indy with the points. 10 people. Mike Dunn was right there. We go out there and beat Mike Dunn, 2nd round, 3rd round, and we never lost the lead. I mean, and there were huge moments you can look back at, like Memphis. We got to Memphis. We get to Memphis and smoke the tires on the 1st run, and it rains. And we don't get another run.
I remember.
We get a run Sunday morning. Now, if we don't win that round, or if we don't qualify on that run, that 1 run after the rain, we're out. We lose the point lead.
Big storm came in.
Crazy,
I remember that.
We ended up making a good run, ran a 4:52, I think it was. Killing memory. I can't remember what I did yesterday, but I got memories for that stuff. But we go out, qualify number 2 on that run. It was an absolute right time. We had to go fast, and we pulled it off with Dan Olson.
Yep, I remember. So, okay, once again, everybody, I got one more question for you.
All right.
But I just want to remind everybody, Baby Back Blues BBQ. It's in Plainfield, Illinois. And this is this might be top 3 already this year, if not one of the top ones. So we're looking forward to. I got one more question for you, though.
I'm good, dude.
All right.
Oh, a lot of food left,
you could be any animal. What animal would you be?
I have to be a tiger now, man. I already got the clothes for it. I just need a tail.
Yeah, Tony the Tiger and Timmy the Tiger.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Anyway, thanks for joining us. We're going to pig out. If you're into barbecue and you get into town next year, or even you see something from us being here, you got to come check this out. It's on the way to the track. Can't go wrong.
Get that spicy sausage. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sweating.
It's good stuff. And we'll see you guys. Next race is Epping. So we got another special one planned for there, and we'll see you at Q&A Caps. Epping, New Hampshire. See you soon.
Peace.